I'm going to try and give you a review of this 909D Plus SMD rework station, well, as much as I can. Stand by. So the Santa Claus brought us something for Christmas, and which was initially met with great glee. And as you can see, I'll throw this photo up. It comes with a number of items. It comes with the main unit, which is supposed to supply hot air. It's supposed to supply a soldering station, as well as a 15-volt DC power supply. Also, a 5-volt 2-amp USB port. It came with some extra soldering tips, some different sized nozzles for the air gun, straight and curved tweezers, a solder sucker, some high quality solder wire. It says 60/40 with 2% flux on it. Some copper wire. That kind of flummoxed me. Comes with like a breakout cable that will allow you to supply power, as well as, I guess, take some readings at some other different locations, and some probes. And then also this, I don't really know what this is. The Bond coat, the Bond-102. Honestly, I don't know what the hell this is. So anyways, and some somewhat decipherable instructions. So I'll tell you the good, and then I'll tell you the bad. The soldering iron connects with this with a 5-pin plug. It's a fairly solid connection. The air gun is permanently affixated, so if the air gun goes bad, in theory you'd have to send the whole damn thing in, which is not the best. You do have to put this little bracket on. Oh, here, let me turn this so I can see it. There we go. Hey, look, my finger. You do have to put this on yourself. This does have an interesting feature. You can set it at a certain temperature, and then when it's in this holder, it's not going to do anything. So it won't turn on until you pick the unit up, and then it will turn on. There's a small fan in here which is going to blow hot air down through here, and your element is right in here. You get a number of tips so that if you want to concentrate the heat on a particular area, a little small area, you can do that. The soldering iron is supposed to go from like 200 to 480 degrees. We'll talk about that in a little bit. These are supposed to independently function. So if I turn the hot air or the rework section, oh, I'm sorry, I have to turn the power on in the back. It actually has a main power system, and it has a regular, like a doghouse or a hospital style plug on the back, so you can use any plug that fits that. Main power indicator. I will turn my heat on. You'll see it was initially set to 480 degrees, and then now that I've picked it up, now it's on, and so now the temperature is increasing until it gets like balls hot, and then when you're done with it, you just place it back here, and you can see that the element has already switched off. It's blowing air to continue to decrease that. So now this is the indication that we are below 100 degrees. And if you give it a second, it'll turn itself off. I'm impatient, so I'm not going to wait for it to turn off. Works much better if we put it on DC. But you can see 0 isn't really 0. I have this turned all the way down. I'm indicating 0, but I've got like 45 millivolts across there. It's not the end of the world, but 0 should be 0. And then if we ramp it all the way up to 15, it's going to give us 15 and a half if I can get my leads on there. 15.5. It tracks fairly decently. So there you go. So that works okay. The USB that I have on the front, which I've got my cord tangled, oh, jeez Louise, making a whole mess of this. So if we plug this in, you'll notice when we plug up here, so we're getting our 5 volts USB out of here. All right, so that's the kind of okay, decent, cool stuff. And again, there's a number of tips here that you can change them out. There's like a big blade tip that'd come in handy if you're doing like volume pots and you're trying to get grounds on the back of those big things, and you know, all the way down to the little pointy thing here. That's okay. Here's where we start to run into issues. If I turn it on, temperature set to 480, little dot in the side means that in theory I'm heating up. I have 0 degrees indicated. I'm starting to heat up on my tip. We're all the way up to 79. You can probably see where this is going. Nowhere fast. And now we've suddenly switched into a display called S-E. Now my soldering iron is now at, we're continuing to rise slowly. There's 177, there's 180. And that's kind of where it peters out. 175. And that's pretty much where it stays. So we're a little shy of 480 degrees. Now if you go into your handy dandy manual, it will tell you display notes. When the LED display, when the LED digital displays SE, it means the soldering iron hot air reworks sensor is having a problem or the handle is unplugged. Okay, well, the handle's not unplugged. This handle is not unplugged, not even on. Solder station rheostat's turned all the way up. Honestly, I don't even know what this is, unless this is just for that. If this the case, it needs to replace the heating element, heating cores element, and sensor components. I'm not really sure what that means. When the LED digital displays SE, it means the soldering iron hot air rework sensor is having a problem or the handle is unplugged. Well, we know that the handle isn't unplugged, so according to this, it says the sensor is bad. If this the case, I'm assuming the hot air reworks sensor needs to replace the heating element, the heating cores element, and sensor components. So basically it's busted. I mean, even if I turn this on, okay, well that's definitely what this is. This is the speed of the fan. But we still get this. So according to that poorly written paragraph, there is somewhat of a discrepancy, or I don't know what it is, because it puts these two things in the same paragraph, and it's basically telling me that if I get this handle is unplugged, this handle is not unplugged, you can't unplug this handle, or there's a bad sensor. I'm going to guess there's a bad sensor in here. The end result is I can't use the damn thing. So here, we'll cool this off a little faster. So I would like to tell you how closely that tracks, but I can't because I never get a stable temperature. I've never gotten it above 180 degrees, and that no matter if it's set on 200 degrees or whether it's set on 400 degrees or somewhere in between there, it never gets past 180 degrees, and that's just not exactly what you want. So Merry Christmas me. It's going back to the Amazon, and we'll see if they can perhaps send us one that works. So anyways, that I couldn't even tell you what the brand name is. I mean, there's probably about 6 or 7 of these different ones that you could find. It's the Series 4-in-1 tool, soldering station, hot rework station, DC power supply, and USB port. This is the 909D Plus. Busted out of the box. I wish I could give you a better report. Buyer beware, it's about $100. Maybe we're asking a lot more than we should be asking for something like this for $100 at that price point. To be quite honest with you, all I really wanted was a new soldering iron, because the one that I have from Tandy seems to be on its last legs. I'll let you know what comes of it. You guys have a great new year. Cheers.
Hey, if you like this episode of RATTLECAN Guitar Restorations, you might want to check this video out as well. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, and if you'd like to help the channel grow, consider stepping over to our Patreon page and giving that a look. Y'all have a good weekend. Cheers.